Hello, and welcome to Pursuit 365's Talk Tuesday, Sex and Relationship Health, with your host, me, Jette. Today's episode is sponsored by Dunvegan Market Gardens in the MD of Fairview. Come out to Dunvegan where you will find beautiful flowers, organic vegetables, and even the kitchen, where you can find scrumptious dishes made of their very own raised bison. And while you're there, go and grab an ice cream and even a round of mini golf. Come to the Dunvegan Market Gardens in the MD of Fairview. Which brings me to my very wonderful, beautiful guest today, one of my bestest friends, confidante, my old neighbor, and a beautiful woman who has been in a beautiful relationship for over 18 years. Mandi is not only a wife, but she is a mother of two and runs the market gardens with her husband, the Dunvegan Market Gardens. Welcome, Mandi, and thank you for being on Talk Tuesday.
Well, thank you so much for having me. So exciting.
Mandi, what I want to know is you work, you are a mom, you have a hobby farm, and a business that you are growing. How do you find the time to spend quality time with your husband? And is this a priority?
Well, that's a funny story. Just like everything else in life, we go through these stages. So when you first start out, like dating and before the marriage, it's so much fun. There's so many, beautiful moments where you just get to enjoy each other and the time you have that's just like so free compared to, being married with the kids and the hobby farm and all the things. Um, Quality time is super important, I think, for every relationship. But sometimes you just can't find that time for the quality time. So you make the
Yeah.
best of what you have. And yeah, we just hang out together. So not only do we work together, but like you said, we raise animals together. So that's a very hands on situation.
Yeah.
Quite often for evenings, like if we have a little bit of time and we feel like, hey, tonight we have, let's put this hour away and do something. Sometimes
Yeah.
it could be something as simple as going for an evening walk with the dog. Sometimes we'll just sit in our hot tub and we know that that's talk time, like we real time talk about our day, good parts, bad parts, stressful weeks. We just let it all out. We vent it out because then you don't have to go to bed with all that crap on your mind. And yeah, so quality time is really different at this stage of our marriage. Like you said, we've been married 15 years this August coming, and together a little over 18 years now. So quality time is not what it used to look like. It's not fancy anymore, but yeah, we definitely make it a priority, even when it's not as often as we'd like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that sounds tough. That sounds really tough. Actually, I'm going to bring up something that we've talked before in the past and about, you know, working together, you live together, you're in the house 24/7 together, and, you have to run the household, you've got children and the business and everything else. And I know that I have personally struggled with this, in the past, is that, um, like you struggle as a woman just trying to keep up. But when you're outside and looking into somebody's relationship, sometimes you think, oh my God, like they have it all together. How do they do it? Everything looks so great, and you go through the Facebook or, something like that.
Right.
For those who are like listening right now, what kind of reality do you have to give to those listening?
Um, Honestly, it's not pretty. It's not what the fake book shows. It's Facebook. Yeah, that non-reality world that, we often get caught up in. No, it's not perfect. It's not all smiles and laughs. There's tons of stress, lots of arguments. I mean, the reality is we're two adults who are living under the same roof, running a household, running a business, two separate businesses. We have friendships, we have our own, struggles. So
Yeah.
is it all sunshine and rainbow? Absolutely not. And I would never tell anyone that. You know that about me, though. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
sugarcoat anything. It's real life. We make the best of even the worst times, but yeah, the truth is it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but with cutting out that little bit of time here and there, yeah, it makes all the difference in the world sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, totally right. So what kind of tell me like what's your most interesting date night that you guys have had together?
So that's kind of funny. I'm going to tell you about I'm not going to tell you the pre-marriage dates because those were just off the chain fun, crazy, cool, carefree. I'm going to tell you about my 13th wedding anniversary date. So, 2
Okay.
years ago. Um, we have always been the couple who we don't even always remember our anniversary. And so 2 years ago, I remembered and I says, "Hey, Trent, like we really need to put time away for this and celebrate it and take time for each other and just do things that we both enjoy, like we used to do before the marriage. Let's talk about our next 5-year goals, like our plans. What do we want to see? What is something that we don't like that we've brought to this point? What can we do better on? Like, let's just go in and be us."
Yeah.
So he planned the whole date, which was really, really sweet. And he loaded the bicycles in the back of the truck. He didn't tell me where we were. The back seat was filled with pillows and blankets and a picnic basket. And I had no idea what we were doing. So it was really exciting. Um, I knew we were only going for the day, but it was still super exciting for me to have Trent plan that date and cut it out and do the whole thing. We went on a little ferry ride over to the Shaftesbury Trail.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we took that little ferry and we went across to Tangent and took out the bicycles. We rode that entire park. We rode up and down the hill. When we got sick of riding, we walked. We talked. We ate little sandwiches, tuna fish sandwiches on our anniversary. Very romantic.
Aw,
And
love it, love it.
awesome. And so once I thought the date was over, we turned around and came back on the same ferry. We're driving all the ways towards home through the Dunvegan. And I thought, oh boy, this was short. Like we're done already. We didn't even really talk much. And all of a sudden, he just pulls out into our homeland pasture here at the top of the Dunvegan.
Yeah.
And he drove out the very edge of the bank, and we parked the truck there and backed the truck up to the river view. He pulled out all these pillows and blankets and filled the back of the truck and turned it into the most
Aw.
romantic, broke out the wine, even brought real wine glasses. Um, had a really nice little dinner packed in this picnic basket. I couldn't believe it. I was so surprised. It's still to this day, it's my favorite date. And we laid in the back of that truck, looking at the river, talking about the next 5 years, what we want, the things that we didn't, that we haven't done well enough, things that we need to work on. And yeah, that was, I would say, my favorite date to date with my husband just because it was so thoughtful. It's the most busy time of year for us in August. And the fact that he made the time and cut it out and planned just about the whole thing was probably one of the most romantic dates I've ever had, considering we didn't do anything. We didn't dress up either.
Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. Like that actually it sounds like a fairy tale to be honest. Oh my goodness.
Not quite, but
No. No, that's really sweet. Actually, that's
it
that
was.
the amazing part is that like this is something that he planned.
He took the time out of an already super busy schedule. We're working 7 days a week here from March to October. And for him to just plan that and hear me, like he heard what I had wanted. I just wanted some him and I time. It didn't need to be anything much. We didn't, yeah, it was just perfect. It was perfect. And it just goes to show that sometimes men do listen.
Wow. I was just gonna say like yeah, clearly communication is key, like for making a relationship work, and like not just like on both parts. And
Absolutely.
I think that for anyone, that's in that relationship, like, yeah, it's not just the woman, it's the men too. So that sounds amazing that, yeah, that you have that. So are you guys able to spend like, I don't know, like quality time, like on a weekly basis or?
It depends on the week, to be truthful. Like for example, yesterday it was just one of those days where there was no time. We were busy all day. We had friends in the evening come over for dinner. We we watched a hockey game with our friends last night, just in our living
Sweet.
room, and that felt even a little bit like, cutout time. It wasn't quality time together, but it
Yeah.
was fun. Something that made you smile and laugh and just connect as a group too with other married couples, which is also once in a while, nice to see.
Yeah. 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 Very nice. Oh my goodness. I'm envious.
Don't be.
But don't be.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Okay, so it sounds like also too, like, the perfect date was just, just hanging out the back of a truck, having that communication, just talking with each other. And that was it. That was like fulfilling for you. Um, so let's talk about sex for a moment. How important is the physical sex to you, or is it more of an emotional bond for you that really matters, or that really makes the relationship work?
Well, when you talk about sex, I mean, in today's world, we've made sex to be like this dirty, taboo thing, which it's not. I mean,
Yeah,
ultimately, from a Christian viewpoint, when
yeah,
we talk about literally, it's the union of two people as one. I mean, it was it's a gift. I mean, it's a miracle
yeah,
when it happens. It's yeah, sex is important. I mean, I wanted to have kids, so I knew I was gonna have to have sex at some point, right? Sex is not just this dirty, taboo magazine cover, cosmopolitan, yada yada. I mean, sex is a real thing, and when it's between two people who are in love and respect each other, it's a completely different feeling than, you know, the taboo side of it, right? Like it's not
yeah,
dirty. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful miracle that takes place in a relationship. And then
yeah,
even speaking of sex, like from a different point of view, like when you talk about like the science aspect of sex,
yeah,
like regular sex helps with better sleep. I mean, it helps with um mood. Like I suffer with depression and anxiety, and like regular sex is it's a healthy thing. It makes you feel good. It releases the endorphins and the oxytocin in the woman's body, and things feel good for a reason, right? That's the science side of it. But when you
yeah,
speak of it in Christian terms and you have that unity where there's the love and the respect and all those emotions, it really does bring you together as one. And it's a beautiful feeling. It's not dirty. It's not gross. It's not. You shouldn't not talk about it. It's okay. Um, yeah, I think sex is wonderful, and yeah, it's very important for lots of different reasons. But yeah, it's very important.
yeah, yeah. Um, Well, on that note too, like you and I, we've had a lot of conversations, but lately, yeah, woo. um, I'm so I'm going to bring this part of the whole, getting older and everything else. Like I'm 51. I'm postmenopausal, and as I had mentioned, in my previous podcast, is that with that there comes issues. For me, it's dryness. Sex can be painful sometimes, let alone, like the bloating and, the weight gain and everything else, blah, blah, blah. So you're only 39 years old. I think that you're very young, and you have mentioned too that you've been going through some of the symptoms of like perimenopause and, periods
Definitely.
slowing down and, um, how, how has this affected your relationship with your partner, or has it affected it at all?
I mean, it definitely has its effects, right? Like you said, just in personal life, like with your own body, like you say, the discomfort, the bloating, the mood swings, the
Yeah.
irritability, the irrationality. Like there are times, and it has nothing to do with the cycle. Your monthly cycle, PMS. I've been there, done that, but now this is something completely different. It's totally unrelated to the cycle. So it's just like, yeah, irritability and just bloating and
Yeah.
irrationality and mood swings. And again, sometimes that bout of depression you kind of feel that can come with it at times from
Yeah.
all the changes, and you at yourself differently, and you know that your partner maybe is looking at you differently, and things are different. So it's uncomfortable. Change is hard.
It is hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Change
It
is hard.
definitely is hard. Yeah. Yeah. So like even with, even talking about sex and such, like you have a beautiful daughter. How important is it like for you to be able to talk about sex and relationships and, oh goodness, menopause and everything with your daughter?
So thank goodness my daughter only just turned 13 a couple days ago. So we're not quite there for sex talk and things, but
Yeah.
relationship about relationships. And I don't think she's quite even there, even in understanding yet. She's still a little, immature.
Yeah.
Of course, she's 30. I can still be immature and I'm 39. So um
Me three.
but in terms of relationships, I would say the biggest thing that I want her to know is that I want her to always respect herself. I don't ever want her to put her needs second. When we talk about sex and the way that it was given to us as a gift from God, it's a
Yeah.
miracle. I do not want my daughter to take the Bible into consideration when I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but
Nope.
I
Nope.
don't
Nope.
want
There's
her
no
to.
wrong way.
I'm gonna back it up. So I remember the first time I read this scripture, and it was women submit to your husband.
Mm,
Wives submit to your husband. And the first time that I heard that, I was just appalled. Like, what do you mean?
yeah.
And now, with the understanding that I have today as a grown up in a wonderful marriage, we
Yeah.
don't have it all, but together we have it all.
Yeah.
I just want to know that scripture does not mean you are to be, owned, controlled, abused at the cost of your husband. That's not what God intended. God did not intend that for our marriages. God intended for two people to come together as one who love each other, respect each other, and at the end of the day, love God Himself. Because if you don't, then you're not even going to bring those views into that side of submit to your husband. Because you're going to think, oh, shoot, I have to do everything he tells me to do. I have to do this thing and that thing and to please him. I don't think
Yeah.
that was ever the of God's word. I think I just want her to know the truth of those scriptures and to dig deep and ask the questions and don't get caught up in other people's stories, most
Yeah.
importantly. And yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's just sometimes you can take certain words into the wrong mindset, especially if you're in the wrong mindset. For me personally, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but for me, I've been there where I'm just angry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm there with you, like 110%. I mean, that was, pretty much, what I was told throughout my marriage, right? Wife submit. And that, that's pretty much, um, like ruled by religion in a very negative way. So to even, to see things like, like, I think even running, like when I met you, and Trent, that it was just such an eye-opening experience for me, because it was like, I'd lived in the middle of the nowhere, and, hardly had my, family come up, and then just to meet some wonderful people, that it's like, oh, wow. Huh. This is what marriage should be about, and just about two being, equal and giving to one another. And so, yeah, no, I totally hear you about, just taking those scriptures, and um, like there's more content around them. Just don't listen to the "you must submit." Like there's
That
content around
dig,
that.
dig into it and ask the questions and dive deeper and find out the reasons why, what it means, what it's all about. There are great meanings behind those scriptures. So, yeah, it's not you're married to a narcissistic human being who uses the Bible over your head. It's a God-fearing man who loves you and respects you and meets you at the standstill, right? Like they meet you at every point, and that
Yeah,
man deserves his needs to be met, just like your needs as a woman deserve to be met.
yeah, yeah. That's amazing. So how did you meet somebody wonderful like Trent?
That's funny. When I was just a wee little thing,
Oh,
18 years old, I left Newfoundland actually and moved to Fort McMurray just for the summer to find a summer job. And lo and behold, I went to work for a company, Dunvegan Gardens. So Trent was actually my boss for a few years there in Fort McMurray. And
yeah.
then, yeah, it all just worked out. I think I was 22 and him and I started dating. And so, yeah, I've actually known Trent for over 20 years, which is wild to me because I'm too young to know someone that long, but
Yes, you
here we
are.
are. But yeah, that's how I met Trent
That's
on a
amazing.
summer, and I never ever left. I just stayed. I just stayed.
You just stayed. That's it. You just
I,
stayed. Oh my goodness.
I worked. I enjoyed my time in Fort McMurray, especially
Yeah.
once Trent finally asked me out on a date.
And here you are, 20 years later, in the beautiful Peace Country, which it is amazing. Um, it is amazing. And yeah, with a beautiful relationship. Of
Every
course, you guys have all your
high,
struggles and stuff too.
the highs and lows
Yeah. Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
know.
point wasn't
Yeah. Life, I guess. So I'm going to play a little game with you. It's called Never Have I Ever. And I'm just
ooh,
going to pick something random. And never have I ever made love in the greenhouse. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
never ever.
Oh my
Oh
gosh,
my
that's hilarious. I know. I just came up with that one. Oh my gosh.
beautiful.
Oh man, do you have any final words for anyone out there that is trying to look for a beautiful relationship and just feels like giving up sometimes?
Okay, do not give up. Do not give
Ah,
up. If what you want, if what you want is a relationship, or even just a friendship, someone to spend some of your time with, all of your time with, I don't think there's rules on that. I think don't give up. Put yourself out there. There are good people out there for everybody, and I think we all have our match. They're just waiting to be found. To be truthful, the fact that I found Trent moving from Newfoundland out to Alberta, I mean, that's kind of one of those like that's kind of crazy to me. So yeah, I think there's a person out there for every. I never thought that I'd find like my person because I'm
yeah,
really different. I'm all over the place with my views and my opinions, but at the end of the day, I have morals and respect for the people who are in my life, and I love hard. I tend to get in trouble sometimes because, open 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 the conversation here for Mandi said too much again.
Oh, goodness, no. I think that's one
I
of the
talk
reasons why I love you so much.
I love you too. Love her as well.
Aw. Oh my goodness. I am so, so thankful that you came on Talk Tuesdays. And it's, always love talking to you and love listening to you. And I hope that anyone listening enjoyed today as well. And I want to just let you know, be sure to subscribe below. And you can also visit me on lusciouslove.ca at Instagram. And don't forget to check out the Dunvegan Market Gardens through the MD of Fairview. Beautiful, gorgeous place out there. The bison burgers are amazing. So stay tuned for my next episode where I will have my old pastor, Pastor Rick, and his wife Nell from C3 in Edmonton. Well, we will explore what the Bible says about sex and relationships. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.